Hi guys. I always enjoy Goodfellas videos, and the one that I linked to below is a real cracker. Yeah, check it out. It cuts right to the point, same as he always does. And I followed that with a link to some more scholarly stuff along the same lines, courtesy of Girl Writes What, and it's all on the theme of TV advertising. See, it put me in mind of one of Anita Sarkeesian's videos that she made a while back about liquor ads. Now, I've also linked that one below, and I'd really appreciate it if you gave it a quick swatch, because, I mean, she could use the views. You know, that startup fund's got to be running low by now. She seems to be saying that the men in these ads are arseholes, and therefore men are arseholes, and therefore, you know, men must change. The funny thing is, I actually agree with most of the points that Anita's making, but I think that she's got the target wrong. You see, beer ads aren't meant to make every woman on the planet feel weak and ineffectual. Pretty much they take the piss out of working class people. See, it's amazingly blue collar stuff, the beer and the bourbon. You don't see much of it sold in the wine bars in the financial district. You know, the clue there's probably in the name. The problem that advertisers have is, how do you sell stuff to working class men? I mean, they earn plenty. 20 cents more than the dollar, according to Anita. But they don't spend it. I mean, they're crap consumers. They drive these clapped out second-hand cars and pickups. Their clothes are from Walmart. They're cheap aftershave. Never cologne. The cheap aftershave was a Christmas present. They don't share a group identity. They don't have their own TV channels. They don't have endless glossy magazines catering to their every whim and passing fancy. They don't even have a look that you can reference. And a wee note to the fashionistas: cheap denim or combats and a set of work boots, that's no a look. I mean, the only thing that anybody's really sure of is that they seem to like sport. You know, the more technical, the more tactical, the more brutal, really, the better. And they like alcohol, and they like tobacco. So, an astute advertiser might capitalise on that. You know, he might figure out, or she might figure out, the appeal of NASCAR or football to Joe Average, and maybe apply that knowledge in a targeted campaign. The problem is that most advertisers aren't astute or clever. Pretty much their way of doing business is to attach the product name to something that appeals to the punter, run out some hackneyed stereotypes, and bosh, jobs are good. So they show puppies, or they show men drooling over floozies, or they show men utilising puppies to generate drooling opportunities. They've got absolutely no clue about the homes or the people or the lifestyle that they're trying to sell to. Now, if Anita could see that, she'd see a terrific missed opportunity there. You see, gender equality, where both partners are equally valued and they divide their efforts based solely on the ability of both partners and the opportunities that are available to each of those partners, that is, and that has always been, a reality at the lower end of the social scale. Not for ideological reasons or because feminism's message to the good people of the world took root in blue-collar households a century or 6 before feminism's birth. It's because when you're living on the margins, practical considerations overrule almost everything else. You could put it another way. I mean, does she imagine, even for a moment, that any of the women and the men in the advertising business making this propaganda bullshit have actually spent time in a working household? I mean, have they ever been to a working class bar? Were they ever allowed to be in the company of the jocks doing their sports scholarship? You know they weren't. But it's their fantasy of how poorly disguised rednecks live and socialise, or how the lads on the college team are supposed to behave when they're out on the town, or how young men in general are supposed to be obsessed with scantily clad females. That's somehow supposed to provoke a Pavlovian response in any man of beer drinking age, and that is a demonstrable crime against every woman on the planet. She says, we want to change this narrative into one where men can, do, and are changing. That's Orwellian as fuck. Who are we? The thought police? And why men? Why do men have to do all this changing? How about women? Or advertisers? How about female advertisers are so far up their own arse that they imagine that men will drop everything to gawp at some passing tits? So if you display said melons next to the wares, you're guaranteed sales. The simple fact of this is that advertisers couldn't give a monkeys about what men think or feel. Women aren't the victims here. The notion that working men are that easy to manipulate permeates feminist thinking. And that same thinking permeates the advertising industry, which is driven by the college education of the people employed by it. The college education has been shaped by the feminist agenda for almost 5 decades now. Anita could spend her time much more productively looking at the message that feminism pushes and comparing it to the message that our media relentlessly inflicts on us. They're one and the same. Patriarchy. Include this ridiculous stereotyping of males as sex-obsessed half-wits, putting their low cunning to use, oppressing the long-suffering significant others. It's constantly portrayed in our media, but the media is run for and by self-identified feminists. If the message is being broadcast, feminists are broadcasting it. They're responsible for this shit. They are the ones that have to change. Not advertising, not liquor sales, not every man on the planet. Feminists have to change. Instead of showing men changing, how about broadcasting a more accurate portrayal of men in the first place? You know, one where they don't really give a toss about influencing or attracting, hell, even interacting with the majority of women. One where the boundaries on acceptable male behaviour are actually highlighted. Yeah, you could perhaps draw attention to the bewildering number of social situations where a man cannot say or do anything without implicit female permission. I know what you're thinking. Maybe that wouldn't sell as much whiskey, eh? Well, maybe accepting the ugly reality of being guilty of masculinity in our day and age wouldn't boost alcohol sales. I mean, it is a depressant after all. I'll echo Anita, just a little. We do want to change this narrative. See, partnership not only works, in a lot of cases it's the only way to get ahead. So let's change our narrative to one where men aren't dribbling perverts and women are strong enough to rely on something other than heavy makeup and a push-up bra. Eh? Cheers. Laters, guys.